Hello, I'm Dolores Cannon. Today I want to take you to a very special place, not to the starry sky or a lightship suspended in space. This time we'll dive into the depths of Lake Baikal, the deepest freshwater lake in the world, nestled among the frigid mountain ranges of Siberia. A place where sunlight reaches only a small portion, and the rest remains a mystery. In over 40 years working with regressive hypnosis, I've guided thousands of people back to their deepest memories. Sometimes past lives, sometimes experiences they couldn't explain rationally. And today I'll tell you the story of a man named Sergei, a Russian geologist who came to see me one winter afternoon in 1998 in a small room in Arkansas. Sergei didn't come out of curiosity, he came because of a recurring nightmare. Every night he saw himself diving in Lake Baikal, without a wetsuit, without an oxygen tank, just his naked body, breathing softly, and a city of light appearing at the bottom of the lake. I woke up with a strange sense of peace, but also full of confusion. Dolores told me, in halting English, I've never dived so deep. I don't understand why I'm dreaming about this. I smiled, placed my hand on his shoulder, and said, "We'll figure it out together. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let me guide you back to where you've been. Now imagine you're in that room with us. The dim light, just an old armchair, a small table with a tape recorder, and the gentle scent of herbal tea." Sergei lay back with his hands gently on his abdomen. I began to guide him into a deep hypnotic state, the somnambulistic state, where surface consciousness dissipates and the subconscious, the deepest part of the soul, begins to speak. Now inhale deeply and exhale. Feel your body grow heavier, as if you're sinking into a warm lake. With each breath, you go deeper and deeper, to the very bottom of your own soul. I counted backward slowly. 10 nuo. My voice was soft like the wind blowing through the Siberian pines. By the time I reached 1, Sergei was completely relaxed, his eyes closed, but his eyebrows slightly furrowed. I stared, as if I was seeing something. "Now tell me, where are you?" A silence. Then his voice resonated deep, slow, as if it came from very far away. "I am underwater, in Lake Baikal, very deep. It's not cold, it's not dark, there is light everywhere." I wasn't surprised, I just asked softly, "That light, what is it like?" "It's not sunlight, it's emitted from the bottom, soft blue, like a gem. There are columns of light rising from the bottom of the lake and something like a city." My heart beat a little faster. I had heard stories of cities of light before, but never underwater and never in Baikal. "Take me closer, Sergei. What do you see?" He inhaled deeply. Although he was lying in the chair, I knew that in his mind he was diving. "I am floating down. I don't need to swim, just think. And the body moves. Now I see more clearly. There are transparent domes, not of glass, not of stone, but of energy. They shine from within. There are tunnels that connect the domes, and there are people." "People?" I asked in a steady voice. "Not exactly people, they're tall, light gray skin, big, black eyes, but not frightening. They look at me, they don't speak, but I understand. They say, 'Welcome back.'" I sat there with my hand still gently on Sergei's arm, but in my mind the images appeared clear, as if I too were under Lake Baikal. "They say, 'Welcome back, gay Serge.' How does it feel to hear that?" Her voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but because an old memory was resurfacing. "I know this place. I've been here. Not in this life, not in a past life, but before I came to Earth. It calls me by a name, not 'I'm gay,' a sound like the tinkling of glass. I can't pronounce it. I didn't rush, I just waited. In a deep hypnotic state, time isn't an issue. A second can be an hour. An hour can be a lifetime. Let them guide you. Where do you want to go in this city?" "I'm floating through a tunnel. There's no water, only air, but still under the lake. The tunnel is made of light, blue, then soft violet. There are small spheres floating like bubbles, but they don't break, they glow. I touch a sphere, and suddenly I see images." "What images?" "The Earth of long ago, millions of years ago, the continents still one. There are ships, many ships, landing, not stopping. Invade. They came to sow seeds of life. They placed them in the earth, in the water, in the air. Then they waited for us to grow. I quickly noted this in my mind. It wasn't the first time I'd heard about sewing, but this time it was linked to Lake Baikal. Who are they, Sergey? Those here call themselves Guardians of the Lake. It's not a proper name, it's a title. They come from a star, I don't remember the name, very far away. They don't have bodies like ours. This body is just a shell. They use it to work, to observe, to protect. Now Sergey began to speak faster, not out of excitement, but because his subconscious was flowing. This city isn't a city, it's a temporary base. They build it with energy. They don't need materials, only thought. It has been here for thousands of years under the ice, under the rock. No one can see it unless invited. And you were invited. I was one of them. Before choosing to come down to Earth, I volunteered to help, to remember, to tell. But coming down here, I forgot. Now I'm reminded. A tall, thin, silver-gray entity appeared in Sergey's story. It didn't walk, it just materialized. It puts its hand on my shoulder, doesn't touch, just energy. I feel warmth. It speaks, not with words, but with images. This base is where we keep the memories. When the earth trembles, when the ice melts, when humans sink deep, we will appear. Not to cause fear, but to remind you, you are not alone. What do they want from us? To be gay. They want us to stop being afraid, to stop waging war, to stop harming Mother Earth. Lake Baikal is the heart of the earth. The water here is primordial water. It is the first memory. If this lake dies, the earth will forget who it is. I felt a faint flow of energy through the room. It wasn't my imagination. The recorder made a small click as if someone had touched it. They show me a round room. In the middle of the lake is a large sphere of crystal. Inside there is water, but not ordinary water. It is living water. It moves, it sings. They say, when the time comes, this water will spread through rivers, through streams, through oceans, and humans will remember. They will awaken in the small room in Arkansas. Sergey still lay there, but he knew he was no longer here. He was in the heart of Lake Baikal, between the city of light and the sphere of living water. Sergey, is there anything else they want to tell you? A long silence. Then his voice resonated, no longer that of a Russian geologist, but that of someone who had remembered who he was. They take me close to the sphere, I touch it, it doesn't wet, it only warms. Inside I see myself, not as a gay being, but as an entity of light. I was here, I guarded this sphere for millions of years. Then I chose to leave. I chose to descend to Earth, I chose to forget, to learn, to feel, to return and tell. I didn't interrupt, I only listened. They say, now is the time. It has arrived. The ice is melting. Humans are digging deep. They will find us not with machines, but with our hearts. Your mission is to prepare, not to shout, not to test, just to live. To live with love, to live with truth. And when someone asks, tell as if you were speaking to a child. Another entity appeared, this time not tall and thin, but pure light, like a small star floating before Sergey. It says, carry a drop of water, not real water, it is memory. When you awaken you will not remember everything, but every time you look at water, whether it's a cup of tea, whether it's Lake Baikal, you will remember that we are here, you will remember that you are never alone. And then, what happens? I asked. I feel lightness as if I am being lifted through the ice, through the surface of the water, through the sky. Then I am here in the chair, but in my hand there is a sensation as if I am holding a drop of warm, living water. I began to count to bring it back. Now, from 1 to 10. You will return to that room carrying all the memories, all the sensations, and when I say 10, you will open your eyes feeling healthy, at peace, and full of light. When I said 10, being gay, he opened his eyes. He looked at me without saying anything for a few seconds, then smiled. A peaceful smile, like someone who has just returned home after a long journey. Dolores, I no longer have nightmares. I only see water and light, and I know I must return to Baikal, not to search, but to remember. 3 months later, I received a letter from Sergey. He had returned to Lake Baikal, without a drill, without equipment, only with a small glass of water. He stood on the shore one winter morning when the surface of the lake was frozen. He poured the glass of water, not as a ritual, just a gesture, and wrote. When the drop touched the ice, I heard a very soft singing, like crystal bells. I know they are there, and I know I have fulfilled my mission. After Serge's story, I realized that Lake Baikal doesn't call to just one person. It calls to many around the world through dreams, inexplicable headaches, or simply a feeling of longing they don't understand. Today I'll tell you about 2 more hypnosis sessions, about 10 years after I came out as gay, but with the same lake, the same light, and the same gentle message. We're still here. The first story. The Woman in Mongolia, 2008. A Lambator. Her name was Oyuna, a 38-year-old literature teacher. She came to me through a friend, not because of nightmares, but because of a beautiful and strange dream. Every night she saw herself standing by Lake Baikal, wearing a fur coat, holding a clay vase. She poured water from the vase into the lake, and the water glowed, expanding in circles of blue-violet light. Upon waking, she cried, not from sadness, but from remembering. In the hypnosis session, I took her deep from the beginning. Oyuna, where are you? By the lake. Winter. A cold wind blows, but I feel no cold. I hold the vase. The water in the vase is not water, it is liquid light. I open it, and the lake responds, light rising from the depths like a greeting. Who greets you? A non-human woman, tall, with skin like pearls and eyes like 2 small lakes. She speaks in ancient Mongolian, but I understand, you are the guardian of the vase. This vase holds the memories of water. Every drop you pour awakens a soul. Oyuna recounted that she had been the guardian of the vase, not in this life, but thousands of years ago, when Lake Baikali was still a valley of fire. The beings of light came and taught her how to store memories in water. They say, when humans forget water, it will remember. When they destroy water, it will heal. Your mission is to empty the vase not with your hands, but with your life. Teach children to love water. Teach them to listen to the lake. One day they will hear our song. Upon waking, Oyuna no longer cried. She returned to Mongolia. She opened a small classroom by Lake Hovsgol, Lake Baikal's sister lake. Every week she took the children to the shore and taught them to listen to the water. She sent me a photo of 20 children sitting in a circle, their hands touching the frozen surface of the lake. Beneath the ice, blue light flickered very softly, like a heartbeat. The second story. The Boy in Canada. Year 2011, Toronto. The boy's name was Liam, 11 years old, the son of a previous patient. His mother brought him in because he drew the same picture every day, a deep lake with a city of light at the bottom and a teardrop-shaped ship suspended above. He didn't talk much, he just drew. In the session of Under Hypnosis, I used the softest voice possible, like talking to a little bird. Liam, where are you? Underwater, not wet. There are friends, tall friends, without mouths. But I hear them say, you are the messenger. You came to draw. Each drawing is a reminder. A reminder of what? That the lake has ears, has eyes, has a heart. If humans pollute the lake's heart will stop beating. But if they love the lake, the heart will sing, and everyone will hear. Liam recounted that he had been a small entity on the ship, not crew, but an observer of children. His mission was to fly over the lakes of the earth, recording the cries and laughter of the water. Lake Baikal is the heart. If the heart were to be polluted, the other lakes would grieve. I must draw so that people remember the water. It's not just for drinking, it's for loving. Upon waking, Liam hugged his mother, then ran to draw. The new drawing, Lake Baikal, with a heart of light in the center and thousands of water droplets flying to the sky like tiny stars. His mother sent me the drawing. I hung it in my office. Every time I look at it, I hear a very soft singing, like crystal bells underwater. Now, after immersing ourselves in Lake Baikal with Sergei, after pouring the vase of memories with Yuna, after drawing the water heart with Liam, I want to sit for a moment, like by the lake's edge on a windless winter morning, to listen, not with my ears, but with my heart. 3 stories, 3 people, 3 different lives, but a single flow. They didn't meet in real life. They don't know each other's names, but their subconscious minds met at the bottom of Lake Baikal, in the city of light, beside the sphere of living water. And they all brought a drop of water that wasn't wet, not cold, just warm, just bright, just whispering. We're still here, and so are you. I asked Sergei, Yuna, Liam, and dozens of other patients the same question. Why do they choose Lake Baikal? The answer was always the same, whether it came from a Russian geologist, a Mongolian teacher, or a Canadian child, because Baikal is the heart. The water here is primordial water. It is the first water on Earth. It is where the planet's memories are kept. When humans pollute the water, they pollute the memories. When they heal the water, they heal themselves. They weren't talking about technology, not ships, discs, or energy weapons, only water. Water is the language of the universe. Water is the bridge between the stars. Water is love frozen in a drop. And then, in a final hypnosis session, not with Sergey, not with Oyuna or Liam, but with an elderly woman in Alaska who had never even heard of Baikal, I received the most complete message. Her name was Margaret, 72 years old, her hands trembling from arthritis. She came because of a dream. She looked like a drop of water falling from the sky into Lake Baikal, then dissolving into light. In a deep hypnotic state, her voice became clear as a spring. They tell me, when the earth trembles, when the ice melts, when humans sink deep, the base will appear. Not to cause fear, not to dominate, but to remember. You are children of water, you are children of the stars, you are children of love. Stop polluting the water, stop polluting the heart. Learn to listen. Listen to the water flowing, the wind through the pines, the laughter of children by the shore. One day the water will sing, and when it sings, humanity will awaken. Not with force, not with war, but with a warm drop falling from someone's eye when they remember they have never been alone. Margaret awoke, her hands no longer trembling. She looked at me, smiled, and said, "Dolores, I want to go back to Alaska. I want to stand by the lake near home and cry, not from sadness, but from memory. Now I want to send you, who are reading these lines, who hear my voice in your head, a whisper from the bottom of Lake Baikal. You don't need to dive thousands of feet, you don't need spaceships, you don't need proof, just a cup of water, a breath, a moment when you stop and feel. The water in your teacup also comes from Baikal. The water in your veins also comes from the stars. The water in your eyes is also light. And when you take a sip of water, wherever you are on this earth, you are drinking a drop of remembrance, a drop of love, a drop of home. Thank you for accompanying me from the small room in Arkansas to the bottom of Lake Baikal, through 3 souls, through millions of light years. The journey does not end here. It continues in the cup of water you drink this morning. It continues in the breath you take now. It continues in the smile you give someone today. You are never alone in this universe. We are always loved, watched over, and guided by water, by light, by our own hearts. Carry a drop of warm water in your heart. And when you are ready, listen, the lake is singing. If one day you find yourself by a lake, be it Baikal or just a puddle in the street, and you hear a very soft singing, you will know, it is them greeting you, remembering you. Thank you, I am Dolores Cannon, and I will always be here in every drop of water.